Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, as you all know, I'm the kind of guy that loves music, podcasts, tech and travel, so it should be of no surprise to hear that I'm a sucker for a pair of decent headphones. Now, we also know that musicians don't make as much money as they used to from their art now, especially now that vinyl, CDs and cassettes, for you older listeners out there, no longer sell by the bucket load. Welcome to the world of music streaming, which is great for you and I because we can pay a monthly subscription to our service of choice and listen to as many songs as we want on demand as soon as even the most obscure track pops into our head. We can play any classic song within seconds, no matter where we are in the world. But alternatively, artists have to constantly tour to make a living. And I read a great interview a few years ago with Noel Gallagher of Oasis, who said that people will happily go into Starbucks and pay £10 or $10 for a coffee and a slice of cake. But ask them to pay a few quid for a song, and they suddenly start to get angry. I also think it's quite ironic that everyone is walking around now with headphones costing between £100 and £400. And it's really got me thinking of how we value music and art. But then I came across a great idea called Fanstereo. Now, the concept was born in 2017, and it was born from a vision of connecting artists and musicians directly to their fans across the globe. Now, currently, Fanstereo offers consumer-facing products that include headphones, earphones, Bluetooth speakers, all designed with cutting-edge technologies from the DNA of direct sound. But more importantly, it helps artists connect with fans and for musicians to monetize their brand. But enough of my ramblings, I don't want to reveal too many spoilers, so buckle up, hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to New York so we can speak with Jay Leopardi, who's the founder and CEO of the entertainment industry's newest lifestyle brand, Fanstereo. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Jay. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Well, my name obviously is Jay Leopardi. I'm a music / technology / entertainment lifestyle guy. The best way to explain it.
Cool. No, I mean, right now, you are the co-founder and CEO of the entertainment industry's newest lifestyle brand, which is called Fanstereo. But can I take you back to where it all began? So can you tell me a little about that early start in entertainment that you had, which ultimately led to your career success as a lifestyle and pop culture branding expert? Sounds incredibly cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, man. I started my career at a very, very young age. I started off as a break dancer, of course. And, I was part of like the breaking crew down in Miami, Florida. I told my mother that this is what I want to do. And so she was supportive of it. And then that kind of led me into the music side of things. And, I met up with a couple of artists that we were dancing with, and they said, Jay, man, you can rap, unfortunately, but I could back then when rap was different. And they decided, let's produce a record. So I produced the record, first single, record label, of course, shelved me for, I don't know, probably the first 3 months because they had another artist they thought was going to blow up. And fortunately, that artist didn't blow up, but yet my record blew up. And so it took me traveling around the world, doing shows. We became the top CHR #1 played record. I hit Billboard. And then, I realized, wait a second, the only money I'm making is from concerts, which was good money. And, back then, to make that kind of, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 for 30 minutes and you're getting paid cash, you're like, wait a minute, this is great. So just kind of fast forwarding a little bit, I, decided, after Jimmy Iovine and Barry Weiss and all the majors from, like I said, from Jive to Clive Davis, all tried to sign me and said, hey, you're the next, new kids on the block of rap. And I'm like, okay, great. What are the next steps? They said, well, we need to get you out of the contract that you're in with your independent label. And I'm like, well, okay, how does that work? So they reached out to him and, couldn't come to any kind of terms. And so I just said, I'm not giving you any more records. That's it. I'm going to go into production and I'm going to start producing other artists. And I refuse to give you another song. So I'd given him one album and the album did very well. And so then I just decided to start producing people. I produced Afro Rican, which, I did most of his hits. And then, the list of artists go on. I worked with, the Stevie B back then, and the Poison Clan, and, Luke and the Two Live Crew. We did a lot of stuff together. And then I just said, all right, I'm getting completely out of the game altogether. I don't want to do this anymore because nobody's paying any money at all. Everybody's broke in the music business, but yet they're driving around in, big cars and, rented homes and stuff. And I'm like, man, this is bougie and it's not my style. And I was raised differently. So I decided to get into finance. And after the finance world lasted for some time, I made great money at that, saved my money. And I opened up a record label. And I didn't even have it open for 6 months. And Toyota came in and bought it from me. It was called Scion Music. So they were like, well, we're coming out with a Scion car and we want to buy that label, blah, blah. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So I sold it to them. I didn't get a lot of money, but I sold it to them, and it was fun. The whole process of it was fun because I got to argue with their top tier attorney, and I did it by myself. So I enjoyed it and I learned a lot. After that, I said, I'm more of that, artist management, branding. I've seen it all. So let me go back to all my guys that are getting ready to come up, like the Jim Johnson, who produced, many artists. And you could probably Google him. It'd probably be best. But he did the Trick Daddy Let's Go record, Lil Jon, a lot of different major artists. He found B.O.B. and, Scott Storch. We grew up together, and, all from the same neck of the woods. So I just decided to start taking them and try and brand, these artists and get them places they could never go because they're just stuck in the studio. They don't know business. They don't know anything. They just know how to go make $1 and spend it. I mean, that's pretty much what they do. And so, moving along, I started to get into the really high level stuff like LeBron James when he first got signed, and then, moving into Cedric the Entertainer and Blair Underwood, just a lot of different, movie type stars. And, and from that, and giving you the real quick beginning to end to my new beginning, I just decided this is what I was going to do. And I did really, really well at it. And I decided that I was going to start getting into the tech space. And that was the new upcoming, move. The .com boom hit. And I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to figure it out. I figured it out, started getting patents and, on many different disruptive type technologies that are all music oriented, of course. And really, I did it. My motivation was to disrupt the music business because an A&R guy doesn't know a hit when it hit him in the face. And that's just the truth. I've argued with so many guys from the Atlantic Records and, all the A&R guys think they know what they got. And I'm like, you really don't know. You guys don't. You shouldn't even have a job here. This was my opinion. So I said, I'm going to create technologies that are going to make it so you don't have a job. And I told him that. That's just who I am. And, I ended up meeting up with my partner, Steve, and he allowed me to disassemble one of his headphones, him being in the professional audio space for 20 years. And his brand is Direct Sound. It used to be called Extreme Isolation, which I'm sure you've heard of it where you live. Tolman and those guys sell it. And, so he gave me the opportunity. I ripped his headphone apart. I said, I'm going to make this thing way better because these don't sound as good as I think they should sound, being a studio guy. So I did that. And then I said, okay, Steve, we've done this for a couple of years, and the music and the sound is become better. The aesthetics have become better. But now I want to open up a consumer brand. And I said, will you get behind me with that? Let's do it together. I got Walter Thurman III, he's a Super Bowl champion. And he and I got together and decided to all just fund this, along with my other partner, CFO Isaiah Sistrunk. And we did the Fanstereo thing. Now, the model behind it is a completely different model, but that's the early start.
Fantastic. And like you said there, Fanstereo is officially launching. But what really caught my attention was the technology behind it. So can you tell the listeners a bit more about those products and how you created and patented, and I think it was high precision audio technology that backs all of the sound with your headphone and speaker products, providing users with the most prestige sound on the market right now, because there's so many different headphones out there, isn't there? But this really seems to be using technology to create that better sound.
It does. Actually, we created something called HPA, which is, high precision audio. And I know it sounds very generic, and it actually is very generic, to be very transparent with you. So generic that we had one of the top colleges in the United States of America call up and say, "How did you get this? This isn't right. You shouldn't even have this." And I'm not saying any names, but they pitched a fit. They're like, "I don't know how you were able to pull this off. What is it? And I need to know. Send me headphones. I'm going to rip them apart." I said, "No, have a nice day. Go buy a pair and figure it out for yourself." And that's really what we did. But high precision audio, HPA, basically is what I would like to say is the next level of, HD, because HD to me started in the audio space, or I'm sorry, the video space, and then they adapted it, in the audio space and started putting it in there as a way to, it's like a licensing thing. Oh, let me license that word or that glyph HD, put it on my brand. People are very familiar with it, and let's fool them. Let's trick them, because what is HD? If somebody could get on here, I would love to get into an HD or a headphone battle with any headphone or audio company in the world, because none of them have the answer to what HD is. I challenge you to interview somebody and ask them. They have no answer. So high precision audio I believe, is the most precise quality of sound that you will ever hear until the next guy behind me comes and makes it better, which I'm sure will happen very shortly. The way we make it is a bit different than your typical headphone. So we've created a driver, which a lot of people don't know what a driver is. I'm sure you do, but for your audience, a driver is the actual speaker that is inside of the headphone. And if you were to grab like a Beats by Dre, which, they're a great headphone, they're aesthetically pleasing, and they started this, so all I could do is applaud them. They've done a fabulous job. But the quality of sound, and if you were actually to take your finger, have you ever owned a pair of Beats by Dre? Pretty much everybody in the world has.
I'm listening to you on a pair right now. They came free with a laptop, all right? That's my excuse.
Hey, you see my point? It came free with your Apple laptop,
yeah,
right?
That's right, yeah.
There you go. So you know what? You kind of answered my question, because they stopped selling, so they started to give them away, which is cool. Hey, man, get a free gift when you buy a computer. That's how the consumer world works. But going back to the quality of sound, if you pull your headphones off, which you can't right now, and you touch the inside of the speaker, you'll feel like a lady's stocking. Have you felt that?
I'm doing it now. Yes, you're right.
I mean, don't feel the lady's stocking and think like that, but it's like literally, it feels like a stocking, right?
Yeah.
Can you touch the actual speaker plastic?
Yes, I've got that now.
Now, don't push it too hard, because if you do, it's going to break. Yes.
Yeah.
So the ABS type of plastic that they use, first of all, is not California Proposition 65 compliant, which means that there potentially could be a cancer-causing product inside of that plastic, unless you're California Prop 65 compliant, which we are. Very, very important. You're wearing these on your ears.
Oh,
so
man.
Just imagine what's happening to your brains, right? And what's happening to every nerve inside of your ear. And I'm leading into the quality of sound, because what happens is, there's an interruption that's going on, all the way from a chemical reaction from plastics that you're not aware of, or that chemical reaction either is allowing you to hear differently, or it potentially is feeding something that makes you feel good. Then the speaker quality that they put in there, they have a driver that they put in there. It's probably about, I don't know, it's changed 30 cents maybe a driver, 40 cents a driver. And those drivers are they have a certain type of technology in them. It's almost like feeding a drug. So it's very heavy on the bass, and they do that, primarily because they know bass is what drives people. Bass is what really puts people in a certain type of mood. It's a bottom note, it's your bottom. You have your high, your mids, and your lows, and it's the low that can drive you and make you feel a certain type of way. So we created a driver that is completely flat. So how a song is recorded in the studio, and then how it's mastered from the mastering company and the mastering engineer, and that's probably one of the most expensive parts of making a record. That part, you should be able to hear that song the way it was intended to be heard. However, there's not many, if I can't even think of maybe one headphone that will let you hear the record the way it was mastered, all the way down to a guy coughing in the background.
Yeah.
You should be able to hear that, especially if you're using a very expensive microphone. So our technology enables people to hear exactly what was recorded, even once you've compressed it down to a WAV file or a .mp3 file or even an AIF file. You can hear it that crystal clear. I mean, the echoes, the delays, everything, all the way down to the compression, everything that's important in a song, you should be able to hear it. And so we have made it a point and spent a lot of time in R&D and a lot of time in the laboratory ripping our headphones to pieces and retweaking them to get them perfectly flat. And then we calibrated, on one of the top tier systems as the number one, and then on another system, the number two flat quality of sound, which is, the preferred way of hearing music. This way you can take your EQ and use it however you feel like you want more bass, fine, turn the bass up because it's available, but you need to control that. We don't want to control that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. What about noise leak as well? That's a bit of a bugbear of mine, especially with the Beats earphones. Do you have any problems with that, or did you get around that?
I actually like that name, noise leak. I never heard that one before. Everybody says noise cancellation or noise isolation or whatever. Your noise leak and what you're referring to, we call it passive noise or passive isolation, right? We don't even use the word noise because, and I'm gonna. Do you mind if I elaborate on the noise?
No, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So how noise, in my opinion, I'm sure there's many critics out there going to say, you're full of crap, but whatever. No, they are. But noise cancellation is, if you think about the word, noise cancellation. If somebody were to sit there and blow in your ear for 5 minutes straight, what would you call that? I call it noise. Yeah. It's a distraction, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a pair of headphones on and you have, let's say, no music playing and you're on an airplane, if you notice once the airplane starts to get a certain kind of pressure going on, your ears start popping, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with noise cancellation is there's a little push button usually on the side of your headphone that when you push that button, it just gives a certain amount of pressure and it gives noise in your ear to distract your thinking and to make you think that you're not hearing anything on the outside at all.
And the guy next to you knows you're not listening to Britney Spears or Vanilla Ice or something like that, right?
Well, he can't hear anyway because, I mean, when you have your headphones on, depending on what leathers you're using and what kind of materials you've made the ear cup part in is going to make a difference. Now with us, we chose to use aluminum. And when I did that, everybody said, Jay, you're never going to be able to make a Bluetooth headphone out of aluminum. You're never going to be able to make a headphone out of aluminum because A, they have to be CNC'd or they need to be, stamped. So they're going to be super expensive. And I'm like, yeah, okay, great. But I have to do that because they're classy, they're sexy looking, and they actually are going to sound way better than a piece of plastic. And so when we did that, we also, on the internal side of the headphone, we use passive isolation. Same thing that in your studio, I'm sure you're talking through a microphone or there's something that has some kind of studio foam in your studio right now, right? Do you have that?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. You're not in your studio with a bunch of PCBs and green boards on the wall, right?
No.
So that's my point precisely. We take those types of materials, cork, we take your regular studio grade foam, and we have those cut to a specific size, and then we isolate the headphone just like you would isolate your room that you're recording in. So therefore there's no outside noise, and on the inside you don't have to hit a button and tweak anything because the inside noise is already comfortable. And then top it off with the right kind of ear muff, right? The leather or whatever material you choose to use that it's how that fits your ear. Your ears are not circular. However, we do make a circular headphone, but most of our headphones are shaped differently. They're shaped like the ear. And when you're wearing them, the outside noise doesn't really exist. And you can actually put our headphones on and have no music playing, and people could talk to you and you'll say, huh, I can't hear you. So it's all based on how we build the inside of that headphone, coupled with the actual driver and the back of the driver. All of our back of our drivers are completely closed shut. So they actually have a cap that go on the back of them. So if anybody decides to buy them and rip them apart, which I'm sure they do and will, but those pieces are there, and they'll understand how we deliver such an amazing sound. And then we're able to tweak our sound. So let's just say, Bose wants to, you want a Bose type of sound. Or if you're a professional audio guy and you want an NS10 monitor or whatever kind of studio monitor that you're using, our technology enables us to tweak that sound to match that quality of sound.
Now, what I also love about Fanstereo's concept there is that it was created at the intersection of entertainment and the technology arena. And I think that I'm right in saying this, that it was after seeing a void in the music industry, through all that experience that you talked about a few moments ago, where artists and musicians actually struggle to generate revenue from royalties and endorsement deals. That's where Fanstereo created that disruptive business model, where entertainers can actually benefit directly from their own product sales, while also staying connected to the fans. And I think that's probably the most important point there. But can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. That was our number one model in the formation and ideation of this particular brand, Fanstereo. We came up with that name utilizing that type of model in mind. It all went hand in hand, and we created the identity from that. But yes, basically Fanstereo, like I said in the very beginning of this interview, I didn't make any money like I should have as an artist. So when you go through that and you're sharing your art with people, and you're watching the record labels and everybody else make money, the radio guys are getting what they get, and everybody's getting a piece of the action, and you're going, wait, I'm the artist and I'm performing and I'm busting my hump, I'm traveling and I'm not making any money. This is quite unfair. So I said, I can't allow this to happen. I feel like it almost feels like the times of, when Moses said, let my people go, get out of slavery. That's kind of what I feel like.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to reach out to my guys, because these are the only people that I identify with and that I know. And so I said, let's create a way for you to make money, real money, that you can get a check on a quarterly basis. That's a substantial check, provided that you sell well, provided that you market to your artists well, and more importantly, and most importantly, provided that you reach out and talk to your fans. And I'm not talking about just going on social media and saying, hey, hi, bye, I'm in and out, because that's just for numbers. Those are just, hey, let me get more numbers on Instagram, and then Instagram's going to pay more money because, they can get advertisers. That's not what it's about. Yeah. Everything's about the fans, because without a fan, you don't sell a record. Without a fan, you don't have anybody to show. Without a fan, you're not an artist. You're nothing. You're just a guy in your basement making a record and hoping to become somebody, which leads me into the next part. Part of our model is to take the undiscovered artists that don't have a chance. Remember, our model is, before they were stars, they were fans. Yeah. So before I became anything, I was a fan of many different artists, and that's what inspired me to become an artist. And we want to give back to those people. I mean, give back may not be the right word, but we want to give the opportunity to the unknown artists to be able to come out with their own records and to be able to get their own headphone deals. And we've created that platform now. We're in talks with several different record labels. Not that we need them. We're also in conversations with some distribution outlets. And we are going we're opening the Fanstereo Music label to be able to take these unknown artists that we feel are good, give them a record deal, not put them in a 360 deal, but yet put them in an original, recording agreement that could pay them well, not put them in bankruptcy or debt, and give them a headphone deal simultaneously, because we don't want to participate in everything that they do. I feel that's unfair. So this was part of our model. Actually, this is the meat and potatoes of our model, mixed with we have to deliver quality, and we have to deliver a price point that is so good that it's an undeniable price for the quality. And so that's really what we've done. And that's why we've been making some noise. And, obviously with the help of, what we believe is the best marketing outlet in the world, which is PR and people like you. I mean, I can't even get to a guy like you unless I have a great publicist, right?
Yeah.
So then it takes you to help us make the brand. So again, we're fans of what you do, because without you, how do we get our message out?
Yeah, we all play our part in this, don't we? And like you say, you have been making a lot of noise at the moment, but you've also made some pretty cool partnerships with artists that have already been secured on Fanstereo. I mean, are there any that you can share with us today before the launch?
Absolutely. So, it's really funny. Before I had the first Fanstereo headphone made, I reached out to a merchandising company that I know, one of the top ones in the industry. And I just, what the heck with it, I'm going to give him a call. I gave him a call and I said, listen, I don't have headphones yet, but here's what I'm planning on doing. This is the model. This is the way we can make it work. Can you lend me your roster to start? And they said, yeah. They said, absolutely, Jay, we love the idea. So we did an agreement immediately. And they gave me a laundry list from, Fall Out Boy to Train to, Moody Blues, Yes. Yeah. A bunch of different bands, and there's many more that I'm probably not mentioning. Oh, Panic at the Disco, a bunch of these guys. And then I said, all right, since I had so many artists that I had already known, when they found out that I was doing the headphone space, they started calling me and saying, hey, Jay, how do we do this? Because they were upset with the whole Beats deal, how that went down, and they wore them. They didn't get paid to wear them, and they're mad. They should have got a piece. Why did this guy and that guy get it? And I say, well, it's not their fault. It's your fault. You were the ones that didn't ask for a check. You just took free headphones and you're happy and you're wearing them in your videos, man. Hey, you made them worth $3.5 billion. Shame on you, not them. They did a great job. So let's create this brand and make you a part of it. So we signed, Boozy Badass. He's a renowned hip hop artist. He's a legendary hip hop artist. We signed guys like, oh my gosh, there's so many. We signed Jazzy Faye. He's a renowned producer. Teddy Riley, who he did the whole Backstreet and Rump Shaker and Michael Jackson, and the list goes on of people he did. DJ Scream, we did DJ Scream from Hoodrich in Atlanta. We just recently had signed Ayo and Teo and they got the new top 20 most downloaded and streamed record on iTunes and on Spotify with their new Rolex record. So I was like, when that opportunity arose, I said, yeah, let's start with these kids. I mean, let's start with the kids, and then let's start with Boozy in the whole hip hop space, because he's a legend. And so it works. I mean, it's worked, it's working, it works. And we have plenty more. Every day is a different phone call. We've had conversations with Rick Ross. We've had conversations with, Cash Money. We've had conversations with everybody. And we're not just taking any artists. We're taking the ones that are serious about getting behind the brand, making it your own. It's your own celebrity capsule collection. We're even going as far as, and one of the ideas that came from us, from our PR team was, hey, why don't you reach out to some of these YouTube celebrities? They're big brands. And I'm like, you know what? That's a really good idea. And successfully, they reached out to a few of them, and I'm even reaching out to a few of them. And it just seems like there's so many different types of celebrities out there that, we are, we're getting those calls, and we're securing deals that make sense. We recently did the Cardi B deal on New Year's Eve with them. We did some other stuff, like with a couple of my friends, from Cedric the Entertainer to Eddie Griffin and George Lopez. we've been dealing with a lot of different people. There's just so many. I mean, DJ Pro Style in New York we're working with. Man, there's so many of them.
So what kind of price point are you going after with the products, and who's your ideal target audience that you're going after, would you say?
Our audience is everybody.
Yeah.
Anyone that, I mean, the market, as you can clearly see, the market of headphones and, well, consumer electronics is pretty much everyone and anyone, from, you know, the baby boomers of the world to, you know, old folk, to all the way down to, you know, 6-year-old, 5-year-old kids are wearing headphones. And, you know, we've created this new bump speaker. I don't know if you had an opportunity to check that out yet, but the new bump is incredible. It's the very first, you know, it's the smallest and loudest headphone, or I'm sorry, Bluetooth speaker on the market. Not to mention, it's the only Bluetooth technology that will enable you to walk 100 feet, up to 100 feet away, and still be in control of this thing. And it's so loud that, you know, it will bump off a table and you can hear it, you know, through 2 neighbors away. So our price points on those, our highest priced headphone is like $139, I believe. And then our, you know, we have earbuds. Those are, you know, in the 100, maybe, or 100 or less. And they're all aluminum and stainless steel, gorgeous. We have the new bump speakers. Those range, you know, from as low as $100. So I would say we're in that price point, but we do have a few other products that are coming out, a bunch of smart stuff that will be, I would say, in the neighborhood of I've got to be less than $300, because I can't sell anything more now. I just don't feel it's fair.
Absolutely.
So,
and I think the headphone market is just huge at the moment, and it's not just about the sound as well, even though it should be. I mean, for a lot of people, what you wear on your head as you're walking through the city says a lot about you as a person, whether you have those tiny little Apple things in your ear, or a pair of Beats, or some Bose C35s. It says something about you and who you are. So if there is anyone listening in the market for a quality set of headphones or audio equipment, what would you say makes your products unique from others out there and adds to that person's identity that owns them?
I think you said it. The fact that we use aluminum, which is sexy. I mean, people prefer aluminum over plastic, of course. I mean, we made, you know, our brands sexy brands that you want to walk around, you want to show them off, you want to, you know, all the way down to our wires. I mean, we don't make our speaker wire that you plug in, plug out, and any kind of wires that we use. We made snap quick release wires that are unique and different, and they're all made out of aluminum. So they're armored. We call them armored cables. Nobody's ever done this. I mean, stainless steel grommets, you know, at the bottom, which is where you always have that loose, you know, connection, and you're like, why is this making this noise? Well, that's because you're using a cheap piece of plastic wire and it's just starting to loosen up. Well, with ours, that'll never happen. If it does, you can mail it back in and I will send you out a brand new one for free. No problem, no question asked, because we make them, again, out of aluminum, stainless steel, and very, very hard certain portions that are made out of very hard plastics that you couldn't bust with a hammer.
So you've been in the industry.
And they're jewelry.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, say you've been in the industry for some time now, and you've seen things progress and get so much better, and it probably blows your mind seeing just how cool and how exciting a lot of these headphones are now. But what excites you most about audio technology at the moment, and how do you think that it will continue to evolve with these advancements in tech?
Well, I mean, I have seen a lot of headphones, and I think that what's going to make a difference these days is, for an example, in our Studio 43, if your phone rings, all you got to do is say yes, it'll answer it. If you say no, then guess what? It's going to go right. You send somebody right to voicemail. You don't have to push a button. We have our new bumps that are they're to me, they're better than the Alexa. I mean, you can talk into your new bump and it controls any of your devices for you. Just tell it what to do. You'd be like, I could take a phone and be connected via Bluetooth to a new bump, double click that bad boy and say, hey, your phone could be locked for that matter. And I could say, call the last number that was called. Oh, guess what? I could do that with your phone locked. Or I could listen to your text messages or text somebody with your phone locked. So we create these really crazy disruptive technologies, and it's just things that kids are wishing they had. So we just got to listen to the consumer. It's like, how do we know? Just because we're tech guys and we're, cool and lifestyle guys and all this other great stuff, it doesn't mean that we have the answers. The answers are and come from the kids and the consumers and the people that are buying it. They know what they want. So what we do is we just have a close ear and we listen. We keep our finger on the pulse and we listen to what somebody, when I read reviews, I say, well, why didn't you guys do this? They're not talking to us, talking to other companies, of course. Yeah. But I say, I read them and it says, why don't you add this? And then the major companies don't even hear them. I'm like, why are you not listening to these people? They're telling you what they want to buy. Why would you not make this? It's a minor tweak, but they don't do it. So what I do is I do it. Well, it makes more sense.
But before I let you go, is there anything else that you can share with us today about that grand vision for Fanstereo that you've got there?
We had meetings with Spotify, Samsung, and a few other major players in the industry when they heard that, we had patented and come up with what we believe is the most disruptive type of streaming, the Achilles heel for streaming. They went bananas and they're like, oh no. But, of course, they have a whole lot more money than we do. However, that being said, the types of technology we have now are, we play in the simultaneous space. We own the technologies and patents to everything done simultaneously, from hardware to software.
So before I do let you go, there's going to be a lot of people quite excited about these headphones, I think. So can you remind anyone listening how they can find out more information about what we've talked about today, or even contact a member of your team, just if they've got some crazy questions or ideas?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those very weird type of CEOs, at least for the time being, until somebody better comes in that can run my company. But you can email me directly, and I'll give you my email address. It's just very simple, jay@fanstereo.com. And I will answer your questions, number one. And if I can't, then I will, if I'm too busy, then I will forward it to my assistant and have him answer it. And then to answer your other question with respect to, you had asked about where do you buy our products. Yeah. Well, our main website is Fanstereo, and that's it's exactly like it sounds, FANSTEREO.com. However, I really prefer to promote the fanstereo.com/AO and Teo, which is AYO and AND Teo, TEO. And the other one, that the first two that we've launched, which is AO and Teo, and the other one is Boozy Badass. So his would be fanstereo.com/badass, AZZS, badass audio. But you could also go to fanstereo.com, click on our menu, Celebrity Capsule Collection, boom, and you could pick which artists right from that page.
Cool. Well, I'll add all those links to the show notes just so anyone listening can find them nice and easily. What I love about your story today is if you join up the dots from your time in the music industry and that first-hand experience of how artists were treated, you didn't complain about it, but you did something about it. And I always say at the end of every show that technology is best when it brings people together. And you're doing just that by uniting artists and fans, and also ensuring artists get rewarded properly too. So I think it's a fantastic thing. I wish you the best of luck for the future. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on today and sharing that story.
No, man, thank you so much, man. Like I said, I just, I'd like to leave your audience with this. I use Logic. I mean, it's just that simple. I simply use Logic, and it seems to work. And you're right, I don't complain, because complaining doesn't do anything but waste my time and everybody else's around me. I'm a doer and a part of the Only Doers Club. So we do things and we make things happen. And if you don't do that, then, shame on you. I mean, that's the best way I could say it to anybody. Go make it happen.
I love Jay's story there, and it's easy to see why he's often called the Master of Reinvention and enjoying huge success as a lifestyle and pop culture branding expert. And I love the concept that he's come up with here. I mean, what if you could listen to your favourite artist in real time or connect to them without the assistance of a computer or mobile device? What if this could be accomplished with ease through the use of headphones that would never distort the quality of your sound again? I mean, does that interest you? And does the fact that the cost is a lot cheaper than a lot of the more expensive brands out there? If Jay, myself, or today's podcast has piqued your interest in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts right now. So, as always, keep those tweets coming directly to me at Neil C. Hughes. Send me an email to techblogwriter@outlook.com. And if you're too busy for all that, why not record me a voicemail? And you can do that by popping by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk/podcasts. I want to hear what you listen to, how you listen to it, what devices you listen to it, your favourite headphones. I want to know it all, so let's get to know each other a little better. Now, I'm going to wander off into the sunset now and listen to some tunes myself, or as the kids would say, bangers. So all that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.